Well, hey there. Thank you so much for checking out the Chamber's Policy Pulse this week. And I'm pleased to be joined by CEO with the Tourism Industry Association of PEI, Corryn Clemence. Corryn, thanks for joining me for this video.
Thank you for having me.
So earlier this week, the Chamber and TIAPEI issued a letter to Premier King in regards to the reestablishment of the Atlantic bubble. We were encouraged to hear Premier King talking about an early spring reopening of the bubble. Corryn, can you just talk about how important the Atlantic bubble was to your industry over the last summer and year?
Yes, sure. So last year with the pandemic and the closures, obviously we had a lot of uncertainty in our industry. And when the talk of the Atlantic bubble being established, I should say, not reopening, first started, that was really the bright light for our industry. Historically, we've seen about 60% of our visitation come from Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. So to be able to open back up to those provinces was really key in seeing our industry get through last year.
And over the last week, we did hear from Premier Higgs of New Brunswick that perhaps they might not be ready to rejoin the bubble until late June. In our letter, we outlined a few suggestions. Can you just share for our viewers what was included in those suggestions?
Certainly. I think just to back up a little bit, for us, the key for the Atlantic bubble and the success of the Atlantic bubble this year for industry was to get that open earlier. So when we heard those comments from Premier Higgs, I think it concerned us somewhat because it's so imperative to get that traffic flow moving again. So those three topics that we had touched on in our correspondence was the short-term phased-in approach. If we can't have the full Atlantic bubble, perhaps there are some opportunities to open up the border between Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island via bridge with some controls in place, or the ferry if there's an opportunity to get the ferry moving earlier this season. We talked about communications amongst the premiers in Atlantic Canada and what those circumstances and benchmarks would be in order to get the full bubble open again. And we also talked a little bit on the harmonization of the protocols and restrictions in each of our Atlantic provinces. I think from the visitor's perspective, I think to have those synergies from an operator's perspective, it's really important for us.
Well, we're certainly hoping to see that Atlantic bubble open up sooner. I know all islanders and certainly our business community are looking forward to that when it's safe to do so. And I want to thank you for collaborating with us and our members and wishing us a better season for 2021. And if you want to read the full letter, it's in our Policy Pulse this week. And thanks so much, Corryn.
Thank you.